I don't want anybody on my team to be stagnant. I feel like if they aren't learning, then what's the point?
What's the point?
You know?
I was just having this conversation too not long ago. This is life, right? If you're not constantly learning, if you think you already have it all figured out, what's the point?
Yeah.
What are you're just existing now?
Yeah.
Out west where the sun always beams bright, Midland skies keep the hustle in sight. BAM Consultants got the blueprint intact. For dreamers on the grind, they got your back. Championing dreams from the ground to supreme, providing that spark, igniting the team. Marketing flow strategies that glean. BAM in Midland, building your dream. They teach the
Bam! Mr. Maxwell Warner. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Man, doing fantastic, brother. Man, I appreciate you for coming on the show. 'Cause you're the director of nutrition at the Martin County Hospital with a cafe project they got going on there. It's been pretty popular.
Yes, sir. We're running Bistro 20 right now. There's a lot of different facets that we do there. So it's basically like 3 restaurants in one, in my opinion. We have the whole a la carte service, which is our most popular. But we do serve a daily buffet, and that buffet changes every day of the week. And then the next week's like a new menu. We always have rotating menus. So
Yeah.
and we do really high-end stuff. Like I came from the country club,
Yeah.
Midland Country Club. So the food we put out is pretty much comparable to if you were to get a buffet at Midland Country Club.
Wow.
You're almost getting the same type of quality, product, creativity.
Yeah.
And then we have a patient services side. So we have, very strict like dietary restrictions that we have to meet for these patients based on kind of what they have going on with them.
Right. Like if they have diabetes or high cholesterol.
Diabetes, renal, if they have dysphagia, if they have, problems chewing, soft and moist diet, stuff like that, low sodiums, cardiac. They each have very specific recipes that have to be followed and ingredients that have to be left out. But the great part is when I first came, this hospital was doing more of the typical what they do in hospitals with a lot of like frozen product, a lot of like just reheat and serve product.
Yeah.
And my background's pretty much all scratch, so I came in there. It took a while to get everybody on board, but once we did, we kind of made that initiative to go as much from scratch and fresh as we possibly could, and that's including the patient side. So we get fresh instead of frozen vegetables, fresh meats instead of frozen meats. Make all our sauces from scratch, which used to be like they'd heat it up in a bag that was frozen and pre-made. Made all our own soups from scratch. Completely revamped our a la carte menu, but it's been a really fun project.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing that?
I took over in January last year.
Okay.
So I was at the country club originally. Before that, for about a year, they moved me back out to take the job at the country club. Kind of recruited me. I was in San Diego again. And then I moved up to take that job. But really through the year, I was newlywed. It was kind of putting a strain on my marriage. Just never being able to be home. Sometimes you work 6-7 days a week.
Yeah.
You work those, traditional chef hours. My shifts were minimum of 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Most of the time they were more than that. They could be 11, 12, and really busy times they could get up to like 16, 17 hours if we had tournaments and stuff. So I really knew I needed a change. I needed a work-life balance change.
Yeah.
And, I heard about the job at Martin County. And just by being lucky enough, I guess, qualified enough, they decided to hire me.
So is that what they were looking for? Were they looking to what you're doing there right now, like scratch? Were they looking to do that? You're just like, hey, I can do scratch. Let's do it here.
No, I don't think at all they were looking for that. I think what they had before was kind of your traditional, nutrition director that, not to say it was bad or good, but, was doing things a lot differently than I am. I kind of let them know, like, I had some ideas, but I never think that they thought it would turn into what it is now. Neither did I. It's become its own beast in a good way.
Yeah.
just the amount of popularity and traction we have now with people enjoying our food is more than I ever thought would be possible in a hospital cafe.
Yeah.
So we're very, very proud of having that spot.
Here's what I'm interested in, right?
Sure.
Because you mentioned before, most of hospital food is cardboard.
Mm-hmm.
It's frozen. It's here you go. There's no flavor. The nutrition value really isn't value, right? But what you're doing is from scratch, higher end ingredients, more intention and thought goes into it. Sounds like you're crafting it more for the patient. I'm interested in what is the conversion of from what healthy, what used to be like patient wise, right? Are they kind of improving a little bit quicker? Are they turning out of the hospital quicker? Because like that's
I don't know about if it boosts their stay like to be quicker, but I do know that we have a dietitian that comes every month. He's like a consultant for us. Basically, he kind of goes through our department, makes sure everything's sanitary, makes sure we're following all the rules, the codes. He kind of grades us every month, almost like a health inspector would.
Yeah.
Usually we pass with 100%. I don't think we've ever been below 98.9%, which is super awesome.
Yeah.
Our kitchen's super clean, but he is kind of on the same page as me, and just he's blown away that we're doing it this way. He thinks it's like an extremely good idea.
Yeah. Awesome.
He is an advocate for it also. I just think the reason most hospitals don't do that is just the volume that they usually have.
For sure.
Like if you're going somewhere like Midland Memorial, obviously you're looking at hundreds of rooms. We have, 12 or 13, I don't know the exact number, but I know we have a very small amount of rooms, maybe 12 or 13, but that doesn't discount how many services they give there. We do surgery, we do, personal rehabilitation, stuff like that. We do have rooms for people that are sick, both swing beds and inpatients.
Yeah.
We have a whole family clinic. We got a rural clinic, home health care.
Yeah.
So you're talking about all different types of services. Lab drawing there, so you don't have to go somewhere else for labs, X-rays, MRIs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and we even have a dentist, that contracts with us, so he has an office there too.
So that's my experience there. My daughter, when she was I don't know 6, 7, 8, something like that, we went there for surgery. She had to have some surgery done on her teeth.
Sure.
Yeah, so I was like, wow, this is a great experience. Not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
They said, you go to a hospital out in Staten. I was like, really? I had no idea, but we went there and I was like, oh, this is legit.
Yeah.
Like, it's well run. It was a great experience for my daughter, for the family, right? So but I can only imagine now the cafe, right?
Oh yeah.
I think that's a great business model. Because you're providing that extra value, right? And so, like in small business, especially in the hospitality, and food and beverage industry, that's what it's about. It's all value add service, right?
Correct. Yeah.
How are you serving? Even the McDonald's and fast food is servicing based on price, right? That bottom dollar. Where that's the value in it, right?
Of course,
There's zero nutritional value, but that's the value in it. If you don't, but this here, it seems like for a hospital that makes sense. Of because I have unfortunately had a lot of surgeries over these last several years, right? And one of the things is I'm like, okay, they want me to eat this, but they also want me to get better, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like I'm having trouble connecting this here, and I get it. It's a large institution, and they're watching the bottom dollar. They're trying to cut wherever they can, and unfortunately, nutrition is an easy kind of slice.
Yeah. I think in general, no matter how you try to cut corner, and it's really funny because when you take a look at the actual numbers, the frozen pre-made stuff sometimes is more expensive than getting the fresh stuff. Honestly, I think a lot of places just don't want to do it because of manpower or because why they didn't do it before here is maybe just because the director thought it ran fine and he just wanted to keep it as it is. But, we've also expanded. We've gotten, more employees in, so we have a bigger bandwidth to what we can do.
Yeah.
So we can do scratch a lot easier, but even when we didn't have that many employees, I made it, that mission to try and I'm not claiming 100% scratch. Obviously we don't make our buns or anything like that. We don't have like a bakery set up. But that's something for the future that I really want to look into, is like making it as much scratch as we can.
Yeah.
But currently, we cook all our own meats, we cook all our own sauces, soups, grains, vegetables, everything you're going to get on that buffet is completely fresh. Same with our a la carte items. We make our own aiolis, just a bunch of different stuff that you usually won't get in a hospital.
Yeah, just aioli. In a hospital setting, I was like, well, okay.
We do some crazy stuff, man. We do like grilled mahi.
Oh, wow.
We've been doing prime rib days.
Brilliant.
You name it. Some days are more home style. Some days we have fun with, and just like we've put curry on the menu before and stuff like that. Thai food. It's just like an outlet for us to kind of gauge what the public is kind of gravitating toward, and to give the employees something different than every single day they're eating the same stuff.
Yeah, so I'm gonna ask that question, but right now I just want to say, anybody want to take a trip to Staten? let's go out.
It's
there,
worth it, man. We
absolutely.
just had USA Today. They came from Lubbock yesterday. They drove 2 hours to do a story on us for their newspaper.
Awesome.
They ate the smash burger. I'm not lying. She said it was the best smash burger she'd ever had. She said her and her husband said it was worth the drive.
Nice.
We gave them like 4 different items of our biggest sellers. But they were blown away just by the food.
Awesome.
And I kind of had explained all this to them too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really cool to see that when we constantly have people commuting from Midland, Odessa, Greenwood, Andrews, and especially locally, we get people in all the time. They're just coming for the food because now they're hearing about the food.
Yeah.
By word of mouth. We haven't done any advertising. The only stuff we've done is like what the news has covered us. I think we've been in the Stanton paper, the Greenwood paper, MRT recently, Big Spring recently, and then we just had this Lubbock one come down.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna try to set up Basin Bites. I had to reschedule them, but that's still in the works. So we're really trying to like kind of get the word out, but mostly they're reaching out and like because they heard about us, and so we're like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
But I'm that type of guy that talks to as many people in the cafe visitors as I can. I feel like that's been lost in the business culture, is a manager or an owner or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Having that personal touch with your customers. We've been learning, we know them by name now, a lot of them. We know their diet preferences. We always joke around with them, shake hands, whether it's good or bad, like you have to show face,
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people now, they kind of hide in the back, or they don't really make those connections. And I feel like that's why we're so special. And that's why the locals especially love coming, because we know them. They're like family. We can joke around, and it's kind of a melting pot of people that come in, and there's no like separate seating. So everyone's kind of seating together. So you're meeting new people. It's a great place for especially a hospital cafe.
Yes, right. Especially a hospital cafe, right? Because usually when you hear that, it's they're just you're just mailing it in, right? Most of the time it's just a mail in just to have something there. But what you're doing is truly unique, and I hope it catches fire, right? As far as the concept picking up in other hospitals saying, hey, let's look at this model to put into our hospital, right? And like you said, I think it is more right now. It's built for like your smaller hospital, for sure. But I don't, who knows? That you just have to find a way to scale it, right? That's the key. But I think you brought up a good point. It's a personal connection, because one, scratch, right? When you have a scratch kitchen, right? What is that? That's home cooking, right? That's from what you have. From scratch, to put something together, right? And like you said, you're introducing weekly kind of new items, testing the market, testing, what's out there. You're able to be creative, and that's something like I was just talking about this yesterday. I'm okay in the kitchen, if you can tell. Yeah. I know my way around, and I love cooking.
Yeah.
It's one of those creative deals that I just love being creative, and
it's the best part about it.
Yeah, and here's the thing though: people say, "Oh, you should start your own food truck." I'm like, no, I shouldn't. Start your own restaurant. No, I shouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because I don't ever go by recipes, right? I'll kind of scan a recipe, you know, but it's more for like how much do I have to cook it, you know, little certain things like that. But for the most part, I'm just.
I'll give you a little secret is we don't really do that either. Obviously, our patient side, yes, because it's extremely important that we follow those to a T because there could be adverse reactions. You know, if you accidentally add something with salt for a cardiac patient, they could have a reaction. And we do everything. We have like 3 or 4 different like final steps to like double check, all the way up until we deliver it to the room. Again, double checking that it's correct.
Yeah.
Because those consequences can be so dire.
Sure.
As far as the cafe goes, though, I have a lot of guys that are just extremely talented cooks. And ladies too. And I brought some of them with me from the country club. So basically, you know, I'll be hands-on training. Like it's more about understanding why than understanding what, like understanding why we're doing it this way rather than like what exact measurement goes into it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You need to understand the techniques and the reason behind why we're cooking it like this and what it does to the product. Say you're going to braise something for 4 hours. Why are we braising it? We're braising it because we want to get it nice and tender to where it shreds apart, or where it's nice and tender like a short rib to where you could just break it with a spoon.
Yeah.
And then how do you do that? And then we give the how, you know, low and slow for this many hours, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not just a guarantee that because I told you, you know, it's 3-4 hours in the oven at this temperature, that it's going to be ready. And these cooks need to have the wherewithal to be able to like check the product and decide for themselves, okay, this is still too hard. This isn't soft enough, or it's too soft. We got to remake it. And I feel like a lot of kitchens have lost that. They're not really training their staff anymore to know like the whys. They're just saying, here's a recipe book, go make this exactly like this. But that doesn't really teach your cooks anything.
Yeah.
And it's great because now, after a year or so of training them real hard, I basically can just let them up and run, and they do a great job at making the food every day. And they know the whys. They know the techniques. They know they didn't know a lot of that before I got there.
Yeah.
And I feel like across the board, that's what could be done more. You know, so I really respect chefs that actually take the time to groom their staff. Because for me, it's not so much about like, hey, I'm there to make my paycheck. Yes, that's nice, but my goal is to train up this staff to want better for themselves. You know, even if another opportunity were to come along that's better than something I can give them at the moment, I would encourage, you know, those people to take that, because, you know, it's all about moving up for me, and I really want my staff to have good lives also.
Yeah.
Crypto inflection point. The rise of infrastructure over speculation and hype. Money doesn't wait. Neither should we. To most, crypto still feels like a speculative sideshow. But quietly, the story has changed. But the noise is fading, and what's emerging beneath it is more serious and far more powerful. We're now entering crypto's infrastructure era. Infrastructure, the hidden engine of every revolution. Real breakthroughs do not go viral. They are not superficial. They go deep. That's the inflection point crypto is at right now. With all this information on the importance of necessity of sound infrastructure in mind, you might be wondering, who's building for this moment? Enter Texacoin, TXC, a script-based mineable layer 1 blockchain that reflects everything this infrastructure moment is about. TXC is not a speculative play. It is designed as infrastructure-first protocol engineered for performance, accessibility, and decentralization. The vision is simple. Establish the base layer through distributed mining across the state of Texas, and empower Layer 2 builders to create real applications with utility beyond speculation. Anchor the ecosystem in people, not centralized validators, antiquated institutions, or gatekeepers. Join the conversation. The Black Gold Energy community meets every Monday evening, both in person and virtually. Texacoin is gathering momentum block by block, and we are the movement in the Permian Basin. Want to learn more? Bring your curiosity, skepticism, or questions to one of our weekly Monday night meetups, 6 to 8 at BAM headquarters. Or join virtually. The Google Meet will be in the event description. It's not a pitch. It's not a crypto meetup. It's a table for builders, thinkers, and doers. It's open to anyone with the curiosity to explore.
This episode of BAM BizTalk is brought to you by Flash Mobile. Whether you're managing your business, chasing your dreams, or just handling life on the go, Flash Mobile gives you nationwide for GLTE coverage. No contracts and total freedom, all at a price that makes sense. Activate your plan in minutes. Bring your own device. Stay in control wherever life takes you. Contact us and make the switch today. And now let's get back to today's show.
Yeah.
So if you're not actively trying to make them better and grow in their career, then you're kind of not doing what you're supposed to do as a head chef, you know?
I love it. And that was actually a question that I had for you, is like, in that environment, you know, they're understudying under you, right? Mm-hmm. You know, you are training them, just like I'm sure you watched it, the Bear.
Yeah.
Right. You know, I love that show.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's a
pretty
little
wild.
dramatic, but I've been in some kitchens that are close to that, so I can completely relate.
Yeah. But you know, you want your understudy to go on and do great things. Yeah. Right? Because they came from you. It's like the lineage. Right, like the Kung Fu Master lineage, right? It's like,
oh man, we have dishwashers that we started at like the Country Club and the Marriott years and years ago that are now, you know, working for my friends that are their lead cooks, that are their supervisors now. You know, taking somebody that didn't know anything but was super hardworking and wanted to learn. We gave them all the information. They soaked it up like a sponge, and now, you know, they have a leadership position. It's like it's just that kind of growth that I want to see for my people, you know. I don't want anybody on my team to be stagnant. I feel like if they aren't learning, then what's the point?
What's the point?
You know?
I was just having this conversation too not long ago. This is life, right? If you're not constantly learning, you know, if you think you already have it all figured out, you know, what's the point? Yeah. You're just existing now?
Yeah. And I think some people get scared of that. Like, I had an old chef a long time ago that I think didn't want to teach us like the stuff we kept asking to learn, because then they're nervous about, you know, well, what happens if they know that and I know that? Why do they need me, you know? Yeah,
they become irrelevant at that point.
Yeah, but for me, it's the opposite. Like, I'm teaching my guys as much as I can about the financials, how to do the order, how to do the closeouts, how to do the end of the month stuff, because that's all the stuff I wanted to learn coming up. Yeah. That until a couple of years ago, I didn't really get the chance to do until we started our business, you know, and I kind of was self-taught. And then I was mentored by my last chef. So it really gave me like this great understanding of like, okay, this is how this works. And now it actually clicks.
So let's dig a little deeper into that. You had a mentor, right? And that's something that we do around here, right? Mentorship is so important. You know, mentorship, the coaching, the guidance, the advisory, that's like so crucial. You know, and for the clients that come through these doors, there's not really a one of them that doesn't need some level of mentorship, right? And like, so as a business coach, I have my own business coaches. Yeah. Right? I have my coaches that are coaching me. Yeah. You know, because I'm trying to get there. When I tell my clients is, look, you got me, right? Everything that I am, that I have, you know, I'm here for you. But I have guys that I can reference to.
You need to.
If you need, and I can't provide it, I can find somebody that can help to provide.
Yeah, or if you want someone to teach you something you don't know, you have someone more experienced that could trickle down. I have the same thing. Yeah. We had a guy just come in from McCaney as our COO, and now, you know, I moved under my old boss to him. Amazing guy to work with, Jason Menifee. He used to do it all over there. You know, he used to do CFO also, and so I talked to him and I was like, hey, this is really what I want to kind of get stronger on, is the financial part of this here. And so now we have this incredible plan, you know, to shoot to at least break even this year, to where most hospitals traditionally, the dietary department's always going to be losing money, you know? Right. It's not one of those things that bring in money for the hospital. Right. It's more of an amenity for the employees and the patients, but man, we're gonna kind of break those standards this year, and I have a plan to do it. So that's my biggest goal. We grew almost 70% year over year last year when I first came on, which was incredible to shatter those numbers. Yeah. And then already the first month, we did a 37% year over year increase again.
Wow.
And I thought the numbers last year were big, and we're
Already,
37% more than we were the year before.
Already past halfway.
January to January. So
Yeah.
it's incredible just to see the response from the community,
Yeah.
from the people wanting to eat there, from the team being so fired up. I probably have the most enthusiastic team I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
They're all proud of what they do. They're all great employees. I've never had a staff that's so reliable and hardworking. They're really the engine behind, Bistro 20.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. Congratulations on the success and everything you're building there. I think it's a breath of fresh air that we need here, right, in this area, right? Like West Texas needs this breath of fresh air that's coming in, because we are the energy capital of the world here, man. We there is a lot of value here. Let's bring the external factors that aren't here.
Oh yeah.
And if we can bring that in, and things are changing. You can see it shifting. The food scene has been shifting last several years.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I am not that competitive guy that's like, oh, screw this new place for opening. I think it's so great when somewhere opens. But on that note, I really wish this town would give places more of a chance before they just shut them down immediately, With any business, there's going to be growing pains.
Yeah.
There's going to be systems to work out. There's going to be things in the kitchen that they have to tailor up. So I hate, because it always happens. There's a brand new place that will open, and then Midland Area Foodies or whatever else other group will just start shattering these people before they even get a chance to get it right. And then it just drives them out of business within a couple months. And then there's a new one that comes along. They do exactly the same thing. And that happens in any city. You need to give these places a little more time to be established, to put out that product, to get the right employees, to get the right systems in place.
Right.
It's just really sad to see, because this place is dying for more food, more restaurants, more diversity in cuisine, but they really don't get too many businesses that last very long. And the ones that do, I love them. But there's only like 5 or 6 good options to eat here, so you kind of get sick of the rotation.
Yeah. It's a problem. It's a problem. And then you add to that the workforce problem.
Oh, huge.
Then
Huge.
that's a huge detriment to these companies too, right? Because now they're getting hit from multiple angles. And I think that the restaurant industry nowadays, it's a lot different than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And now just getting into your brick and mortar isn't like step one, right? You really have to build the brand, build your systems out, build your menu, how it, your processes, everything you got to have that right before okay, now I'm going to step into a brick and mortar building, because I think that's a new business model for a restaurant. Start somewhere where the overhead isn't insane, you're not putting your head on the chopping block, and build the name.
Yeah. What's hilarious though is nobody does that. They just put all their money into this giant building and hope it works.
Right? But that's what I'm saying. I think the model's been changing lately. Brown's Barbecue, Pachuco's.
Yeah, I've seen them for a long time. Pachuco's I knew before they actually got their brick and mortar. I remember when they first opened it up. I met Ruben because I was selling curry on the marketplace one year. I was like, I'm going to start trying to sell some homemade meals out of my house. And he ended up coming by and getting it. And that's kind of how we ended up meeting each other. I
love
Great guy.
I love
don't know him super well. We haven't hung out a ton or anything like that, but his food's incredible. I have a lot of respect for him. We chit chat here and there on Facebook, but the chef community is one thing that I do love here that's unlike any other city I've lived in, is actually the chefs here have a very tight-knit community. So we know each other pretty well. We're all relatively on good terms. So if you have a question or you need something, you have a ton of people to reach out to that are supportive, that want to help you succeed, you know? And I think that's a really unique part of this city.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that sounds so Ruben, right? You just, see some dude on social media selling a dish, and he's like, all right, let me reach out to
Oh
him.
man, he liked
You know?
it. He told me he liked it. I hope,
Well,
I hope that was true.
Ruben's the type of cat, he's not going to say something he doesn't really mean.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's that's who he is, right? So yeah, he liked it.
Yeah, well, nobody down here sells like Thai curry, so I was like, I'm gonna try this Thai curry,
Yeah.
The BAM BizTalk podcast is brought to you by our sponsor, Pachuco's Restaurant. Craving authentic and eclectic cuisine in Midland? Well, Pachuco's has you covered. Located in downtown Midland at the ever so legendary and iconic historic building at 316 North Big Spring Street, Pachuco's blends rich and unique flavors in a conveniently pleasant and vibrant atmosphere. Enjoy the highest quality barbecue, savory tacos, burgers, and a variety of other mouth-watering dishes that reflect the spirit of a true Pachuco cuisine. Real, authentic, and just plain different. Check out their menu at www.pachucos432.com or call 432-218-8806 to inquire, or better yet, just show up and get your shine on at Pachucos, where heritage, exquisite taste, and hospitality come together for an unforgettable dining experience. Pachucos, Midland, Texas. Now back to the show.
So let's talk about your where you're from San Diego,
Yes, sir.
California, and so how did you get into being a chef?
Man, I'll just tell you the story. I grew up cooking with my grandmother and my mom. I was a really hyperactive kid, and one of the things that like got me zoned in and calmed me down was I would love to go in the kitchen. Nobody would ask me to do it, but I always saw them cooking, and I wanted to kind of do it too. So I would fill up all these like pots with water. My grandma kind of had this extensive spice cabinet, so I would just take as many spices or whatever I thought sounded good, and I'd dump it in this water, and that was like the soup we were gonna eat for the night. You know what I mean? And sometimes they were like, but sometimes it came out decent, Yeah. So, and I liked to do that a lot growing up. There was something in me that just, more than like making it or eating it, I just loved watching people eat it. That it really got me like excited, and like I was like, how is it? Do you like it? Do you like it?
Yeah.
And I think I knew from then like that was kind of what I wanted to do, but I didn't take any action on it for a long time. I mean, I worked so many different jobs throughout my career. I've worked a lot of retail. I've worked as a beer distributor. I've worked as a server. I've worked at a country club as a busboy, a telemarketer, construction, you name it. Like I've done it. But at a certain point, I moved to Colorado with my dad, and I was working 3 different jobs, working my ass off. And he kind of said something that just like clicked in my head. And he's like, well, look, you're here, staying with us. You're able to save money. Like, why don't you figure out something you want to do and then go to school for it, and you can stay here while you go to school. He was really pushing me, like, I think it's time for you to figure out like what your career is going to be. And I think almost right away I was like, I want to go to culinary school, and luckily in Boulder, about an hour away from Aurora, where I was staying, there was this incredible culinary school called Escoffier. It's kind of one of those fast track schools. It's not like a bullshit program, you know what I mean? But we went 5 days a week for almost 8 hours a day. So you're cramming, for a whole year. So you're cramming like 2 years into 1 year, where typically in another school you go to maybe like 1 class a day, or, one every couple days. They're like, bam, bam, bam. They're just knocking this knowledge into you. And I had never cooked in a professional kitchen before that. Like literally I hadn't. I just showed up, super green. They gave me a bag of knives. I didn't know what any of the equipment was called, or like what the pan sizes were, anything like that. And I started at ground zero. And then when I came out of school, I got an externship at a place called the Broadmoor, which is in Colorado Springs. It's the longest running 5-star 5-diamond hotel there. They have thousands of employees. I think they had like 9 or 10 restaurants on location. And so during orientation, somebody just came in and grabbed me, this little Peruvian lady, who happened to be the executive sous chef for the second best restaurant they had on the property. And here I was thinking maybe I'd start off at like one of the easy ones. They threw me into like this super fine dining restaurant. And man, that was wild. I remember she would verbally call tickets out. You know, tickets usually come through like a machine.
Yeah.
You read them. Nope. This lady would call out each ticket, and her accent was so damn thick, I could barely understand it.
Yeah.
And she was such a firecracker. She would, if you said, "Hey, what was that?" or "I didn't understand," she would give you the death stare or throw a plate at you, like that type of kitchen. I've had the exec there has been throwing plates, but that's the type of passion. I grew up, I think, in the last like phase of those old school chefs that were like no bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna Gordon Ramsay this. You know, it's a lot different now because of, you know, there's like a lot more HR. There's a lot more things that chefs can't do, which I think is healthy. I don't think anybody should act like that, but I get that it comes from a place of passion. But yeah, so that was really my first experience. And then from there, I got an opportunity from a friend out of school to go over to Egypt overseas. To help open a little like fine dining restaurant on the sea. It was on like a pontoon boat with a walkway attached to it, so it was floating in the water in the marina, and it was all open. There were just glass windows, and so was the kitchen. But the kitchen was probably the size of like from that wall to that wall, very small, and it was maybe like 2 people could squeeze in if they tried. But I was there for, you know, several months, living there, working there. But their culture there is so much different, and I didn't realize that. Like, some people like don't get days off until like they take vacation, and you don't. It's not like you're guaranteed a day off during the week. You might work 3 weeks straight, you know, and then before you get a day off or anything. And the guy we had there was pretty intimidating. His name was Mr. Magid. And he was like one of those guys that was super wealthy and respected, because we were in like the Venice of Egypt, pretty much, place called El Guna, which is all like completely private. Like you have to go through a security gate to get in. Mainly just like rich Europeans live there. It's in a marina on the Red Sea. So you have like super yachts, all this different stuff. So super exclusive place. But this was the type of guy that I was afraid of. Like if this guy wanted... if I pissed him off wrong, I probably would disappear.
I was gonna say he could disappear you.
Because he had that like, and I remember one day, we had worked like 2 or 3 weeks straight, and we were supposed to be off, and then he decided we were gonna work, and I told him, I was like, well, I already have plans to go snorkeling, and he was like, what do you think? This is some effing vacation? And he got all up in my face and stuff, and I was like, holy. I was like, no, we'll work. That's fine. But and it was even twice as bad because they were the ones, you know, putting us up. So they were taking care of our housing, and eventually it just became like I started to get super homesick.
Yeah, it's too much.
And I told them like, hey, I got to go back, you know. But it was one of those things I still dream about.
Yeah. What kind of food? What did you learn there?
I learned from a really great chef called Amador. He has like this hotel in Spain called Restaurant Amador. I think his last name's Fernandez, but he is super, super well respected there. He's like a big guy in gastronomy, pretty big name in Spain, and Spain is like one of the leaders in you know, cuisine. But he was really intense. He wanted everything to be like measured by the gram, because the way he did his recipes were so specific that, and I get it, like if you did it like that on the paper every time, it would come out the same every time, consistent, you know?
Yeah.
But I just don't think I was at that level yet to do that. I just kind of lucked out on that job. But then after that, I came to Midland for my first experience at Texas. I got another offer at the 4 Points by the Synergy in Midland.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I started off here. I worked there for a few months with a friend from school, but we kind of, you know, butted heads a lot. So I thought I was going to move back after that. But I ended up getting a call from the country club because I had applied with Midland Country Club, I think back in like 2016 or so. And they hired me on for like, I think it was like $18 an hour, 17. But at the time, it was a pretty good pay.
Yeah.
But I stayed there for on and off for like 6 or 7 years.
Oh, wow.
And I learned so much because I worked that talent pool they had there was unlike any other. Most of the people that work there are now either executive chefs in town or they've started businesses somewhere else. You know, Juan Valdez worked there. He used to do Pie Social. He's opened up a bunch of projects in town, El Sitio. Raul Vasquez, he has Retango now. He was one of ours too. Rakeem Samuel, he's the executive chef at the Marriott Barrel and Derrick, and they're doing like the best fine dining in West Texas right now.
Wow.
You know, Ben Lesnick was our head chef. He's not there anymore. I think he's the executive chef of a Houston country club now, but real old school French chef. Taught me a ton of stuff. And then we had this guy named Ryan Lavecchio, which we called Yoda because he studied at the CIA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he happened to, and he's also from San Diego, so it was kind of a trip. But he was like, hands down, one of just the best cooks I've ever met in my life. He was actually the second when I was there, so he was the sous chef. But the guy has such natural talent. Like, I picked up as much as I could from that.
Yeah.
And then actually, when I moved back to San Diego, he got my foot in the door of one of the best restaurants in San Diego. It's in Rancho Santa Fe. God, what is it called? Rancho Valencia is what it's called. But that's a Relais Chateau. And Relais Chateau hotels, like you have your fine dining, your 5-star, your 5-diamond, then you have boutique, and then you have Relais Chateau. And they're supposed to be like
Oh, wow.
the best you could possibly do in the world. They're all over the world. So like you have to basically, it's almost like a Michelin, but it's a different type. It's like for
Okay.
the whole hotel. It's called Relais Chateau.
Gotcha.
But they're extremely high end. I did some of the fanciest food I've ever done there, like on Michelin levels type
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And then obviously we started the seance business kind of after that.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, the show, you know, is about entrepreneurship, you know. So I'd like to explore that project that you did.
Sure.
It sounds super interesting, man. Yeah, tell us about the seance.
So it's a dead business now, but when we did have it, we ran it for about 2 years. It was kind of just an idea we had, and it kind of got piggybacked off the idea of what we were doing at the country club. Like every month or two, we would do a wine dinner. You'd have 5 or 6 courses plus, and then they'd be paired with wines, you know? They were really popular. It was cool because we got to put out all these fancy different dishes, kind of smaller size, but enough to where you can finish by the end,
Yeah.
and then pair it with what it was supposed to be paired with. And people went crazy for that type of stuff. I've done them before too, but it kind of sparked our mind and our opinion, like, why don't we do this, you know?
Yeah.
So it's exactly what we kind of did. It was me, my friend Rakeem Samuel, who's another chef down here, and then Makala Kalipio. She's from Hawaii. Best front of the house manager / director like I've ever met. Super talented on just fine dining service. She worked at so many different hotels and restaurants in Hawaii that were just excellent with like the fine dining. So
Yeah.
we kind of got that also, which was great because she trained the staff.
Yeah.
And we were doing the whole 9 yards, you know, serve from the left, pick up from the right. The napkins have to be exactly like this. They need this fork, this knife, this, different glasses, completely decorated and decked out the whole place. So
Yeah.
the amount of like, it wasn't just the food, but the service you got at the same time was like if you went to a 5-star place, you know, in Dallas type thing.
Right. And that's the experience of it, right? Just how that is you curate that experience.
Oh, yeah.
You know, not just with the serving, right? Like the presentation is a big part of the dish.
Huge.
Right?
Huge.
And that, of course, has to reflect the actual taste and, you know, the quality of it. But then just bringing it out, you know, like you just said, left, right, which knives, forks, you know, your dishes, that full experience, it's like you're hitting different parts of the brain, right?
Yeah.
And you're stimulating different
Yeah,
aspects.
down to the music, you know.
The ambiance, the lighting, you know, it is a complete it's an art experience.
Of course.
You know,
That's why it was so popular. Unfortunately, it just wasn't really financially viable for us because we didn't want to sell this experience and then give a subpar product.
Right.
So the amount of money that had to go into the products we got, and because we couldn't order them from like a big distributor like, you know, Benny Key, Chef's Warehouse, Cisco, whatever, we had to order them privately through companies. So that's an extra cost,
Yeah.
plus shipping, plus this.
Yeah.
Like we've gotten like uni and stuff before. It cost a couple $100 to get it here just for, one little tray of it, because not only are you paying for an obscure product, but you probably have like a $40-50 shipping cost.
Right.
On top of, startup costs, on top of, we didn't skimp out on paying our contracted employees either. So like we wanted to be as fair as possible to them, because we worked with a lot of them at our regular jobs. And then like down to our dishwashers that we had to get, the food truck rental. So by the end of the day, after like the 5 or 6 of them we did, plus like the trips we'd take to Marfa to source wine. I think we even got some wine from a place called Los Nopales, and it's in Sterling, Texas. Tiny winery, but they have incredible wine. But by the end of the day, you're really left with pennies.
Yeah.
And our whole goal was to try to save up eventually to be able to open like a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
But unfortunately it didn't happen, because during that time we moved over to the Marriott. All 3 of us actually got manager positions there. So I was the executive sous, Rakeem was the executive chef, and Makala was the food and beverage director. So we're already working 10, 12 hours a day over there, sometimes 6-7 days a week.
Yeah.
It was almost like trying to have 2 full-time jobs. And at the end of the day, we had to decide which one is more important. And, we had to keep a roof over our heads. So it's like, we got to shut it down,
Right.
Unfortunately, I don't think anyone wanted to, but.
Yeah. No. When you start something that's your passion, right? Obviously, you guys are chefs, right? This is something that y'all, and you're creatives, so you want to be as direct as possible, right? If you're working for somebody, well, they're the host, they're and then you're just facilitating that. But when you are from hand in the mouth, basically, that's what it's about. That's what you want. That's what's your passion.
Entrepreneurs and small business owners, are you searching for ways of taking your business to the next level? BAM is your answer. We specialize in crafting high-performance marketing strategies that put your brand front and center, right in the palm of your customers' hands. Not only can we create a premium website full of features that optimize your social media and digital marketing presence, but we ensure that your brand gets multiple views from your target audience and even those visiting your competition. BAM is your go-to solution in the Permian Basin. But we're not just about digital and social media marketing. We're a one-stop shop offering a spectrum of services, including business mentorship, strategic planning, market research, and access to capital. That's right. We can get you funding to expand your business. With BAM, you're not just getting a service, you're gaining a partner committed to your growth for the life of your business. So why wait? Kickstart your journey to success today. Call us to set up a free consultation and discover how BAM can help your business soar above the rest. 432-247-8840. Call today and get your business launched.
But I don't. There might be some life in that idea yet, man.
Honestly, a lot of people are trying to replicate it, but I know for a fact we were the first ones.
Yeah.
And I think part of the draw we had, honestly, was like the exclusivity of it, especially like since a lot of the people coming were country club members, because they'd hear about it. They buy them like first thing. We'd sell out those tickets. We had a website. They'd sell out maybe within the day.
Yeah.
Because we'd only have 30 spots. And the more popular it got, the more people were buying them faster. Like right when they went on sale, like half of them would be gone. And you're talking about 270, 280 a pop. So these are people that like, I don't care. I want to go to this,
Yeah. So that ticket could have been a lot higher.
Yeah. But like I said, it's because it's like, oh, well, I went to Seance. What did you do on Saturday?
Right.
It's like bragging rights
Yeah.
almost. And it's worth it too, because like there's nothing that was like it down here. So like you're taking Instagram pictures. The ambiance is incredible. The service is great. You'd spend this whole night dining and wining. You'd be meeting new people. You'd be building connections. So it's kind of like that same idea of a melting pot.
Yes.
But it was so much fun. But it definitely taught me a lot about business. When we did that, we didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
I was the one who had to figure out how to file the LLC. I was the one who had to figure out like, okay, how are we gonna pay these people? What are we gonna be
Right.
able to write off? Like, it taught me a lot of the things I didn't know before. So it was like a crash course in business. You know?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that you just said all of that right there, because that's what we do here, right? So, man, I have no doubt, like, if we would have known each other when you were putting that together,
Yeah.
you know, man, you know, we could have really helped you. And, you know, I'm even seeing, like, now, it's like, man, we would have had you owning the dirt. We would have had your location,
Yeah.
you know. That way it's there, it's set. Now you guys can just operate around that.
Yeah.
And I understand that with the ingredients and the high quality of things that y'all were doing at the time, you couldn't buy in bulk. Right, the shipping
Well,
was
yeah, and you got to think, if you're only serving 30 people,
uh-huh.
like if you get lobster, say, like we need 30 lobsters, like we can't buy 50 lobsters or 80 lobsters.
Right.
And sometimes that's all they offer is like a case, and we had to assess like, well, how much do we need? Would it be cheaper to go source them from somewhere else?
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors that went into it, and I've learned a lot since then. You know, because we didn't really do any like set food costs for that. We picked what we wanted to make, whatever it was, even if it was expensive, and we just ate the cost after that, because we were more interested in the passion of it. We were more interested that this is going to look like a Michelin star dish and it's going to taste phenomenal. Let's serve it regardless of the cost.
Yeah, which by the end of the day, that $270 ticket was cheap.
Yes, well, it basically only covered our cost.
Yeah.
If you want to know the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a little bit left over, but you're talking a few hundred after everyone's paid.
After
you know,
everything,
So it wasn't anything lucrative, but it was fulfilling in the passion department.
Yeah, and you definitely, you know, your experience from that. You know, you learned a lot from it.
Yeah.
Like you've already said a couple of times, and I think now, and what you're doing now at the Bistro, a lot of that is coming together here for you now.
Yeah.
You know, and you're able, not just for you that you're able to create this, but you're imparting that knowledge and passing that experience on, right? So which in the chef world, like being a chef, I feel that that's like a duty of a chef. I don't know. You know what I mean? But like you need to pass this on what you have learned, right? It's like you brought up Yoda, right? Like pass on what you have learned, right?
Yeah, and I have been with my guys. You know, I've taken one guy from the country club that was a really good right hand in banquets, and I made him the lead line over here. You know, and I'm continuing to groom him as much as I can, because I want him to be. I see potential.
Yeah,
I think he can just kill it and make. You know, like a great executive chef one day.
Yeah.
He just needs the guidance. And same with my other cook. There's another guy I have. Actually, all of them are really on poise to become chefs one day. Yeah. And I feel like they just need that guidance. And the difference is here, you know, there's a couple factors that go into why this is successful now at Bistro 20. Luckily, is a lot of it has to do with Martin County Hospital. You know, I like to get the best quality products I possibly can. Even though I have been watching costs a lot more, we are not sacrificing our quality that we're doing for our customer base, for our patients.
Yeah.
So even though it's not like a profit model is what I'm trying to say. Martin County is generous enough to, you know, they want the product to be the best it can be. They want the community to have low prices. Like when I first had come on, I wanted to raise prices. They kind of 86 that because they wanted to keep them low for the customers. We did do a small price adjustment this year, but you're talking about maybe $1 or $2 on some items. And then we introduced some more premium items. But, you know, it's extremely cheap to eat there. The quality you're getting is like second to none. If you were to go to any restaurant and get that same plate, just because it's in a to-go plate for us, it's, you know, $8.50 plus tax. But if you go to like a restaurant and get that same meal, same quality we're making, you'd probably be looking at least $22. Like yesterday, we were serving, you know, pork chop with chimichurri and catfish. Sometimes we'll do like prime rib days, like I said. We do grilled mahi-mahi. We do baked salmon, and we're talking about salmon that we get flown in fresh. We're not talking about that frozen pre-portioned crap. You know, we actually break it down, portion it out. So we don't skimp. And even our breads, we get the best quality breads you could possibly get in this area. So
man, that's amazing. You said $8.50.
$8.50. You get 2 sides. You get an entree and a roll for $8.50, and you get a drink free. even with our a la carte, our smash burgers, our most famous thing that we have, I'll tell you right now, it's the best smash burger in West Texas. I know a lot of people are going to be upset for me claiming that, but come by and try it and see it for yourself. I've had every single person that's tried it just rave about it. But that's only $10.50, and you're getting a half-pound burger, not just a half-pound burger, but we use local American Wagyu from a ranch called Headquarters Land and Livestock, and they're local in Stanton. They're right across the train tracks, and I used to work for them as their private chef. So we have that relationship. So they're giving us a great price on that meat. So that American Wagyu burger you're getting, half-pounder for $10.50, comes with a side. It could be fries, soup, salad. We got sweet potato fries, truffle fries, and you get a drink. So you can almost eat that quality of burger instead of probably what you pay the same at McDonald's for one of their meals.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just what you said there. I think I'd find that for a good $18-20.
Yeah. And it's huge. You'll be super full by the end of it.
Wow. So about burgers. So we have this thing out here. It's called BAM Burger Friday, right?
Oh, yeah?
Every once in a while. And I have this idea kind of bubbling, right? Where I want to get a couple of local restaurants and chefs to have a burger challenge. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And my thing is they're all gonna cook their version of what a BAM burger is
Okay.
to them, right? And we're gonna have the people's champ, you know, basically everybody try it. And I vote, you know, we have a voting, the whole deal, man.
That sounds awesome, man.
Yeah, so if you want in on it.
And I have this weird thing about committing to like food competitions locally.
Gotcha.
It's just a personal thing. Like
Yeah.
I've been asked by a bunch of different people before, like, hey, you want to be in this contest? And I'm like, because I know most of those guys.
Yeah.
And like, I don't have that competitive like drive in me to do stuff like
Gotcha,
that.
yeah.
I would happily cook you a burger for free, just so you could try it.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know what it is about it. If it's the pressure of it, if it's because I know the other chefs, it's just something I kind of try to stay away from.
Gotcha.
Because I just don't want to get that like rivalry with anybody.
Yeah,
We're a pretty neutral place. Like all we claim is we serve really good food at great prices with the best product we can find.
Yeah.
And we make it fresh. We make it with care. We make as much of it from scratch as we can.
Yeah.
And in that hospital setting, like if you would have asked me before I started the hospital to like go eat at a hospital, like even if you told me I had a great burger, I'd be like, man, you're crazy.
Right.
I'm not going to eat at a hospital. What's wrong
Right.
with you? Like, don't you have anything better to go eat?
Right.
Like, but I get it now. And it's like, it's weird trying to convince people to do it. But when they do, they're just like, oh my God, you know? And I'm not just saying that, it's just what's been happening.
Right. Right.
So that's what makes it so interesting to me is it's just this place you would never think to go in a million years to get like a killer burger or whatever you order is going to be killer, you know?
Yeah. It's almost like one of those things, you know, build it, they will come type deals, right?
Yeah.
It just has to be there,
Yeah.
you know, and like you were saying, word gets out, people are coming from all over. I'm going to go try it now.
Yeah, well, like I
Yeah.
told you, we have we had the Stanton newspaper do one on us, Big Springs. I think we ran in Greenwood. Recently, we had MRT do a story on us. We had the Basin Flavor magazine we're going to be in. They just did a photo shoot on Thursday. We had USA Today from Lubbock come yesterday to do a story on us. So somehow people are hearing about us and reaching out, and we couldn't be more proud because a year ago, this was my exact plan, is to build this incredible restaurant inside of a hospital, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not just that. That's only part of the job. Like I said, the other half is juggling the patient side of it. So to be able to do it all simultaneously, I'm very proud of. And the way not only patients but customers are responding to like the food we're putting out on both sides has been overwhelmingly positive. So I couldn't be happier.
That's amazing, man. So, you know, the listeners of this podcast,
Sure.
right, they're mostly entrepreneurs or people wanting to start a business or wanting to make an impact somehow, right? So from your perspective of everything that you've learned leading up to now that's you know, allowing you to build what you're building right now, what words of encouragement or anything would you have to say to our listeners?
It's a tough one. You know, I think building a business, there's a lot that goes into it. I think before you even think about doing it or pulling the trigger, you need a pretty solid business plan. You need your startup costs, you need your monthly overhead, you need your projected revenue, all that good stuff. And a lot of people don't really think about that.
Right.
They just like have an idea and they go for it, and then they find themselves in the hole. It's expensive, and that's kind of why I've shied away from ever opening a place on my own, or even with investors, is because I know how volatile the restaurant industry is. So to be through a place where I have assistance and like backup is nice, because I don't have to worry about that bottom line myself as if it were my money. I do watch it very carefully. Like I'm not just wasting money. But it's just a different feel that I feel more comfortable, because the stakes aren't as high to be part of this organization, and they're happy, I'm happy. But for the average like entrepreneur, I think you just really have to have your costs make sense. And I think that's where a lot of people fall short, whether it's food costs, you got to figure out, like, you can either do it to where you just across the board are gonna make them a certain, like if you have a certain percentage of food costs, like what you're gonna mark it up, or you could do your market research, see what the rest of the market's kind of offering around the same price, and then you got to assess your product. Well, if I want to make this more expensive than the rest of the people, then we're going to have to justify it by making it better than the rest of them. Or you can kind of price it around that same price. And then obviously you want your workhorses on the menu, your low cost items, but super popular with great margins. And then you have some of those specialty items that you're not making so much profit off of, but it gives more options to the customer. I think a variety of those in a restaurant's important. Labor's huge, obviously. Like you said, the workforce down here, since I've been in Midland, Texas 10 years ago, it's extremely difficult to work with down here in this particular area. There's not a whole lot of talent, like we joke about in the industry. If you find a diamond, hold on to them, because another chef's going to be happy to swoop them up and offer them more. It's really hard to find reliable, stable employees that have a skill set. Most people call out. Most people ask for a ridiculous amount of money, and then they come in and they can't perform. And then just making sure you have enough to be able to run, but not too much to where you're just throwing money out the window.
And that is an insane balance, man. That you have to do on a day in, day out basis with that.
And that's why I always prefer quality of employee rather than quantity. Because if I have one guy that can do, the same thing 3 guys can do in an hour, I'd take that guy all day.
And you want somebody who's trainable, coachable.
Oh yeah. That's the scary part, is sometimes you get those guys that are seasoned, and if you can tell that it's kind of an old dog new tricks type thing, I try to stay away from that. Not to say I would never hire somebody older. I've hired a lot of people that are older, but it all depends on their demeanor. Sometimes you get ex-chefs that come in, they think they know everything, and then I just don't want those people, because you just can't teach them anything. They're just stuck in their ways, and you also don't want to get someone in that you're just gonna butt heads with, that they think they know better than you, or they're gunning for your job. It's like it's just counterproductive at that point.
So I think all of that that's great advice. That's great advice. Where can people on social media? Does the Bistro on social media? Can they follow you, or how does?
We are through Martin County Hospital District social media. We don't have like our own Bistro 20 social media, because we are Martin County Hospital District. But we do post the weekly menus on there. We do post like announcements about the cafe. We post the specials running that week. The a la carte menu has been posted before, but I don't think we have that like consistently up. But they have an Instagram and they have a Facebook. So if people want to find like what we're serving that week, because every day will be different, they can go to Martin County Hospital District social media.
Cool, man. Got one final question for you.
Sure.
All right. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Man, that's interesting. I really hope I'm still at Martin County. My whole goal is to take this little project we're doing and just blow it up, man. I slowly want to become like the premier place to eat lunch in Midland, Odessa, all of West Texas. I know that sounds strange, like I said, we're not claiming to be like fine dining or anything like that. We just have some killer food for great prices, and we're using great products. And we do some really interesting stuff too. It's not like our food's boring. We put out a lot of really great stuff that's really unique for this area. So like we got a brisket grinder on there right now that we have raspberry habanero jam on. Kewpie mayo, sharp cheddar, and it goes on this beautiful Denver crunch roll. And the flavors in there, it sounds weird, but then you eat it and you're like, wow, this thing is killer, you know?
Yeah.
I want to do like a strip of pork belly, and I want to confit it, and then I want to fry it, and then I want to put it in a hot dog bun with like a mustard slaw, candied mustard, and then some dynamite sauce. So it's like gonna be a Korean hot dog, but really it's Korean pork belly in a dog. Stuff like that. It's just I like playing with different ideas.
I feel like it tastes that already.
And extremely affordable too. So like you get diversity, but you also go there and you're not breaking the bank. You're getting full for like next to nothing.
Well, awesome, man. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you.
It was a great conversation. Got to learn about you and what you're building out there. And again, congratulations on success and much more, man.
Thank you. It was easier than I thought. So
just conversation.
Man. Appreciate it.
And you'll be seeing me out there for sure.
All right.
Hey, so
I'll hook you up if you come out there. I got you. So
awesome, man.
So
cool.
you let me know.
Hey, and everybody, man, y'all make your way out there, right? Check it out. Let's go. All right. Appreciate y'all. Until the next one, we'll see you on the flip.